I had a subscriber ask me a question last night on one of my videos. I've done a series of videos recently where we're kind of comparing and contrasting pre-33 American gold coins. Those are the circulating gold coins we had back before 1933. With the modern gold bullion coins, the American gold eagles in particular. And he asked a question, and I was going to answer this question, and I thought the more I thought about how I was going to answer it, the more complex my answer to that question got. And I thought, maybe this is an opportunity to do short videos that answer specific questions from my subscribers. So this will be the first video in the new subscriber question and answer video series. If you are new to the channel, my name is Dub C. I want to thank you for spending some time with me here today. Here's your opportunity. Go ahead and click on that subscription button, and you too can submit questions that I might answer in the form of a short video. If you're one of my returning subscribers, I think you guys are going to kind of like this. Let me know what your thoughts are about this new video series. I think it's got potential, and it would answer questions maybe in a way that you hadn't really thought about before. I love that idea. You guys are always challenging me, and I love thinking about them, the mental gymnastics that go into answer these types of questions. I like to begin my videos where I can. With a simple disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. I'm not trying to offer any kind of financial advice. I'm simply trying to share some of my experience having bought and sold precious metals and rare coins for the last 30 or 40 years. And I like to begin my videos where I can with a couple of definitions, but we're not going to do that for this video. I want to keep this short and sweet. So the question is actually from Robert Adams 9746. And again, he answered this question online, and I've answered it this morning, but the more I thought about it, the more interesting I thought this question became. And it was simply, what do you think of collecting 19th century slabbed foreign gold? So this is kind of in that context of this pre-33 versus modern gold bullion pieces. And the more I thought about it, the more I was going to answer, just a simple, yeah, I think it's a great idea. But it is a lot more nuanced than it may kind of appear on the outset. When I first started thinking about these, my mind immediately went to the Latin Monetary Union gold coins. If you haven't seen the videos on those, I'll put a link down below. I've actually done videos on those as a great opportunity for new buyers. These are examples of them. So this was really briefly a group of countries in Europe that decided to have standardized weights and measures and purities for all of their gold and silver coins. And that allowed them to facilitate trade across borders. You didn't have to worry about transcribing the difference between a mark or a lira or a pound or whatever else the unit of currency was. If all of your gold coins were the same, they were all the same. These ones are called angels. This is a French 20 franc piece, and these are from the late 1800s. That falls within the parameters of what Robert Adams had asked about. This is an example from, 1896? So we're just barely inside that. And this is an example always with coin orientation, right? 1877, so slightly older. These are beautiful coins. They are a favorite of stackers. They're a favorite of people who just like the idea of having a very beautiful small gold coin. Each one of these right about 1/5 of a troy ounce of pure gold. Note that I said about. That will definitely play part in this answer. And then immediately after that, I began thinking about English sovereigns. A lot of my sovereigns are King George V. They are early 20th century, so 1900s. These pieces, a slightly older Queen Victoria, so these are towards the end of her reign, and you can see that these pieces also date from that same late 1800s. We got the date down below, 1893, is that right? So examples of English sovereigns. England never participated in the Latin Monetary Union. These were their own standards, which are really close to 1/4 of a troy ounce. So these are a favorite of mine. I've got lots of them. They have always been one of the favorite ways for me to stack gold. But he asked specifically about graded pieces. Now, the answer with these pieces, if you can find them graded, I think that's fine. Most of these pieces are not especially scarce, and that's kind of where I focus with the Latin Monetary Union pieces or the English sovereigns. Older is better to me, but these aren't the kinds of things that I would really think having a lot of numismatic potential. It's just not really there. These are gold bullion products, even if they are 100, 120-year-old gold bullion products. So as an answer to that, I think these are fine not buying these slabbed. These are fine to buy raw. However, I do think it makes an interesting buying opportunity if you can find these pieces already graded by a third-party grader. And that grading doesn't cost you any extra. You've just built in a little bit of extra padding. The value of this coin is maybe a little bit better than a raw coin is. So if you can find one of these pieces that's graded, maybe AU to MS63 condition, and it doesn't cost you any more than a raw piece, snap it up. I think that is a great opportunity to have a little bit of built-in extra value. A great tip about everything that we talk about. If you can find these pieces with no extra premium, that's always a good idea. But it got me thinking also about the more scarce issues, and I do have some examples like this piece. This is an 1890 Guanajuato 1 peso, and you guys have seen me, I actually submitted this piece raw myself, and it came back rated as 65. This is an especially scarce date, and it is a very scarce condition also. You don't find these pieces in MS65 condition. It's one of the few pieces that have ever been graded. So I was lucky enough to be able to buy this piece raw, without very much of a premium. I submitted it and it came back with a scarcity of a condition, and it's also obviously a rare date. If you can find these kinds of pieces, and you don't have to pay extra for the certification on them too, these are probably going to be a little bit more nuanced, right? This is something that does have some numismatic value, and you will probably have to pay an extra premium on it, but always keep your eyes open for it. Some dealers don't really care that much. But when it comes down to it, if you have the option of a piece that has maybe a $50 numismatic premium versus a piece that has no numismatic premium, and they're being offered to you at the same price, it's a no-brainer. Pick up the one that's more scarce, that has a smaller mintage, that has a better condition. And if it's graded and slabbed and encapsulated and you're not paying a premium for that, I think it's a great opportunity. I've got another example. This is a Mexican piece that's a little bit older, obviously. This is 1849, and this is an 8 escudo piece. So this is a great big Mexican gold piece. Right now, with the premium so low on pre-33, I think you're seeing a little bit of a buying opportunity for these 8 escudo pieces. I am particularly fond of the Spanish colonial pieces, the ones that kind of look like the 8 reale silver pieces. So if you are finding that the premiums on those are quite low, and they historically have been pretty low compared to American pieces of the same age, then I think that makes a really interesting buying opportunity. Keep your eyes open for these pieces, especially look at those auctions that specialize in higher end numismatic pieces. If the premiums on average circulated pieces like these are low, wow, that is a very interesting buying opportunity. And then there's another classification of pieces that will already almost always come slabbed. And one of the interesting things about them is that these slabs are quite old now. And I'm talking specifically about pieces like this. This is an 1876 Netherlands tin gilder. So this is a piece that was part of a huge bank hoard. And we found lots of these in the mid-1980s. These were being reintroduced from European banks to the American market, and they were some of the first people to take advantage of slabbing. This was a brand new technology, a brand new thing that had just appeared, and they were realizing that this was an opportunity for them to mix kind of vintage gold coins with the newest thing in numismatic, and consequently, there were thousands and thousands of these kind of late 1800 pieces from all sorts of European countries that were being slabbed. They had never seen circulation. They'd always kind of been held in reserve for paper vehicles. And a lot of these pieces are really high states of preservation. This is an MX65. And when I was buying these, probably bought this one back in the mid-1990s, no premium at all. And the premiums have gone up as people have realized these are becoming a little bit more scarce, a little bit more difficult to find. This is a great opportunity to look for these really old vintage slabs. That adds even more potential value to buying these. So if you're buying a piece that is already a beautiful condition, that is already 150 years old, that is graded in MS65, that's a very high condition, that is in one of these original older slabs. This is called a fatty slab from NGC. You can see it's even pre-barcode, so this is quite old. You are stacking lots of potential on top of itself, and I think that is a great way to augment the value of these pieces, especially if you're finding them with very little premium. That's always going to be the key. My last tip is that I wouldn't necessarily limit myself just to the 19th century, right? I wouldn't just look at the 1800s. This is an example of a Russian piece that is of that same series. In fact, I bought these the same day, way back in the 1990s. This is a Russian 5 ruble piece, but it's from 1904. So is that kind of blurring that line a little bit? It is clearly of the same type, the same style, the same age, the same intention, the same slab, and all that kind of stuff. So if you really want to be a purist to that question, I could see it, right? Don't buy something that's from the 1900s if you're really asking about 1800s. But it checks off all of those boxes for me. So I would be inclined to kind of broaden my horizons a little bit. Look for those pieces if you're really trying to stay within a certain time period or a certain country. I get it. But if you have an opportunity to buy a piece like this and it's no premium, it's very tempting. It's really very tempting. So there we go, answering that question in the very first of the subscriber question and answer video series. What do you think about it? What are your thoughts about this? Are you keeping your eyes open for pieces like this? Are you limiting yourself to American pieces? I'm based in America. Lots of my subscribers based in America, but an ever-growing population of people all around the world subscribing to the channel. So let me know your thoughts about this. Are these pieces that you look for? Are these pieces that you would want? If you have questions about any of the pieces that we talked about here, leave a question down below. Probably not going to make a video about your question unless it's a really good one, so we'll leave the door open for that. But I think this is a really cool opportunity to kind of expand the question and answers. If you have suggestions of other things that you'd like to see me make videos on, I'm always going to leave the door open for that too. Remember, if I make a video based on your question, I will give you a great big shout out. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, you got to do that to participate in the subscriber question and answer video series anyway. Go ahead and click on the subscription button. Love to have you be part of this community. Always be learning, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey as we go deeper into the world of coins and physical precious metals.